We can get you that exact number, but we actually think it's even, we don't think we're probably using all of the right-of-way. We've tried to put a road in here to minimize. That's why we went back to TxDOT and said, can we narrow this up as much as physically possible, which they'd give us a variance on? But we will get you what the actual city, quote, right-of-way width is in the corridor, but I don't believe we're up against the edge of it.
Most of the cities did.
I do want to share with you all, on the issue of transparency, I'm going to stand up to this. So this is a problem that we have when we're building roads. And I agree, there is no excuse for not being transparent. But when it takes as long to build a road as it does, it's very challenging to keep everybody engaged in the process. We lost a year on this project from COVID. We lost a year on this project in trying to work out the agreements between all the cities and communities. So we had 2 years, but we had as many or more public meetings on this project as any project I've ever been involved in. Could we do it better? Yes. But, I mean, people got sick and tired of seeing me in River Oaks. And we had 150 to 200 people show up at every meeting. But, so we go 2 years, and so a lot of people, wow, this is the first time they're hearing the project, or now there's lots of anxiety about it. And so this is what happens, unfortunately, in transportation projects and every other kind of public works, when you have such a delay. But we're committed. If you all want to have more public meetings on the project, we'll be there. I mean, this process is about trying to keep the city on board and informed. We're still another year and a half from construction, and that's something I do want to talk about. The question has come up, well, what if you do vote to change the road? What will it do to the schedule? Preliminarily, at a minimum, it's a 6-month delay. And I think it could be as bad as a year or longer. We have lost 5 project managers at the city of Fort Worth since the project started. We've lost 8 project managers at TxDOT. So if we vote to delay the project, to go back to a different design, I'm not going to stand here and tell you we're risking funding for the project. Our agency is committed to that. But there is always a risk, so I can't tell you that it's 100%. Because the dollars for this road have been plugged into a schedule of projects, and so far everybody in my office has been extremely flexible with me on allowing this project to move 2 years because of COVID and because of design issues. But we're committed to the project, so I'm going to do everything I can to do to keep the project funded. But if we delay this a year, costs are going to go up, and I'm going to be standing here 2 years from now talking to the next group of River Oaks people who are terribly upset because it's the first time they've ever heard of this project. So there are real costs of delay that I think we need to take into consideration, but we're not going to build a road that you all don't want, or any section of it that you don't want, but there are costs associated with delays in time. And it's your taxpayers' money, and if you all check around, inflation's what, 7%? So let me tell you what happens when we have inflation. What goes up first? Construction costs. We had a period in the 2000s where construction costs went up 10% per year for 5 consecutive years. Literally, we doubled the cost of this road, and we're not very far away from that. So there are very real costs of delays, and I don't want to belabor it, but it's also important. It's your tax dollars. It's going to cost us more in time and money if we delay the project. It will cost more. There's no question about it, the way costs are going up right now.
Seems the last year probably has impacted crazy already.
It has dramatically, and I'm concerned about that. But like I said, we're very committed to the project.
Mayor Asmith, I have property at 913 Gilman Street, as well as somebody from Wood. How is just having one lane going in and out with a turn lane going to affect our holiday traffic when Burgers Lake backs up from the gate all the way up to Long Street and all the way up to the main gate of the base? It's already next to impossible if you get out to get back in. And if we need emergency vehicles now, how are we going to get them in there? Especially with these roundabouts, because that's going to back up to the roundabout at Gilman Street, backs up to Gilman Street, up to Sam Calloway, out to Westward Village, then back up to meandering to that roundabout there, all the way up to Robert's Cutoff and all the way up to Long
They
Street.
had 2 lanes, and they
And
kept doing the
yeah, they got 2 lanes, and we can't get out.
the same
We
lane.
end up with Pelican Bay Police last year out there directing traffic, and it took you hours to get out, and then it was next to impossible to get back in. And like I said, that's with 4 lanes. And you're taking my lanes away, and
Sure.
You eventually go on the other gate and use the east gate.
So, let's talk about it, because we spent some time about this. This is another reason why this 3rd lane in the middle is of value to us. And it's back to your point, why you should build 2 lanes. We spent a lot of time on this topic. We think if you had special events, you could certainly barricade the system so you can have 2 lanes going in and 1 lane going out, and use your center through lane as per through traffic.
Then they're gonna have to all come back together when that lane ends.
And you can reverse it when you've got inbound traffic and outbound traffic. This is what they do at all the sporting events at Arlington, on all the system, they reverse the lanes to use this. In fact, we're looking about reversible lanes on in and out of the base. But your question really comes to the problem, and I think you're trying to speak to it, is it doesn't really matter how much capacity you provide in and out. Once you get to where you're going in, it's a roadblock anyway.
right.
So, that's a logistics problem of the events and how you handle all that traffic.
That roundabout going to sit there.
But all I'm offering to you is that you could use this middle turn lane as a through lane in the event of special events. And we've actually talked about that for heavy traffic for the base, and that was my point about the bridge. We said, well, we could use the 3rd lane for inbound traffic to the bridge up to the base on Saturdays because it's such a heavy volume, and then we realized we're going to get to the bridge, and we only have 2 lanes. And that's part of the reason we talked about whether we want to add it.
Where she's talking on Gillum, if you ever shut off the main gate, people know they take a shortcut. They turn down St. Callaway, come down, hit Black Oak, and come down Gillum, and they can be all the way down Gillum Street. If you put another traffic circle there, you got the other side blocked. How are they ever going to get through there? You got 2 lines coming this way.
And this is for a special event?
No,
It's just when the lane's open.
If that base
Mother's
gate
Day and Memorial Day and
Holidays and
like 3 or 4 times a year.
It's just, yeah.
I think we'd have to just get with the city and look at, are there some traffic plans we could help you develop to handle traffic?
Well, that's not in the road, so.
and you're going to have to dedicate our already the
Understaffed.
police department that's understaffed, and now you're going to give them some work to do.
Well,
Yeah, but like that right now.
with all due respect, for special events, you're gonna need police to help you manage traffic. I mean, that's just the reality of the world we live in.
Well, they're talking about Snuff River Road, so.
It's this
Back up into River Road.
Right there, Gilman Street. If you have a wreck on Gilman Street, you get everybody. You get the base, you get Ford, you get the road, city lines right
So
there.
it's in Fort Worth.
It's on that and a half.
Let's
You stand on the door, that side's in Fort Worth, and the road, this side's in Fort
Let's
Worth.
talk to the city of Fort Worth about traffic things.
Oh, so it's on Fort Worth, not River. Okay.
Depends on where it's at.
It all backs up into River Road, every bit of it. Because the Burger Place is right out here, hit that traffic circle you've got there at Gillum Street, and go right up Meandering, and up Gillum, and around this way. It all goes right into River
I've
Road.
had railroad dog catcher in that block, and that's half of Fort Worth and half of River Road.
Like I said, if there's a wreck on that street, you get them off, because it depends on where you lane.
Well, our commitment to you is if you have special events, traffic issues, we have dollars in our office, and we'd be glad to see if there's some ways we can help you. A lot of it has to do with how you handle traffic, how you handle signals. There's people that do this for a living.
You should do this ahead of time then.
We handle special event traffic.
But with a good road,
We can do
we
that.
can plan ahead, and make it.
You got 2 lanes, you're not gonna get out.
Okay, is there anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Well, you thought I was
Did
bad.
you get finished? So, G.D. Baker, 5600 Meandering. I have a few questions and comments. So, I do have concern about kids crossing at a roundabout. I seriously have a question about that. I have lived in that house for almost 32 years. And when I first moved there, I had heard there was an accident where a child was actually hit. at Gillum.